I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to The Conversation with Al McFarlane. Today is October 10th, 2022. I think we should be calling this Indigenous Peoples Day. I think the colonizers call it Columbus or Colonizer Day. We object to that, and we stand with the stewards of this land, in this case, the Lakota people, the Dakota people, and other people that are indigenous to communities throughout North and South America and throughout continents on the earth, all of whom have been impacted by the expansionist, imperialist, and negative energy of European colonizer conquest. So today we acknowledge and support and revere those resilient populations and people that continue to resist and maintain a sense of possibility of newness, even amid the history, but who I think will demonstrate the capacity to prevail, and in doing so, become the human beings that we all are striving to be and are able to become. Well, with that, let me bring in my writing partner, Brenda Lyle-Gray. Brenda joins me every day from the mountains of New Mexico. Brenda and I are kindergarten classmates, grew up in Kansas City. Brenda, how you doing? How was your weekend?
I'm fine. It's chilly, but it's pretty.
Well, it's that time of year.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's say hello to Diana Hawkins and Dee Phillipps. They support and co-host this program on Monday. We call this governance at the neighborhood level. And the idea, simple as that we form relationships and associations in neighborhoods that allow us to state our mind, our position, and to be advocates for the public good, starting with our families and our neighborhoods. Diana and Dee, how are you both doing? Good to see you.
Hi, Al. Happy Monday, Brenda. Happy Monday, Dee. Glad to be here. It's Monday. I'm not going to be negative, but like you said, it's Happy Indigenous Day. So I'm just grateful to be amongst those that are celebrating. I saw the parade on TV this morning, and it was wonderful.
Awesome. Well, let me bring in both Lissa Jones and Clarence Jones. Not related, I think, not directly anyway, but both leaders, I call them young elders, visionaries in community who have a lot to say. And I'm so pleased to be in partnership and meeting with them today. I want to first say about Lissa Jones. She's a speaker, facilitator, and coach for individuals and organizations that are serious about working to grow beyond the illusion of inclusion. She was the content creator and host of the Urban Agenda on KMOJ, which is Minnesota's oldest Black radio station. Did that for 15 years. That kept her grounded in the community. She teaches about and the culture from which she has emerged. And now in its seventh season, she is hosting Black Market Reads for the Givens Foundation for African American Literature. It's a podcast that seeks to amplify the voices of Black authors and writers about their crafts and their works. She's the chair-elect of the University of Minnesota Friends of the Libraries, and she's lived in Minnesota all of her life. Lissa has a captivating and powerful voice, and the voice, from my point of view as a listener, is characterized by a cadence that conveys urgency, that conveys intensity, intent, and that demands the attention of all who hear it. And so, Lissa, it's so wonderful to be with you again here on this program. I adore you and adore your work. And so, again, it's a pleasure. And I'm going to come back and introduce you more a little bit later Brother Clarence, you are a regular supporter here in your work with Hue-MAN partnership. Lissa, hi, first of all. How you doing, sister?
I am so grateful to be here with you in such high esteem. I hold you in such high esteem. I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Talk about what's on your mind right now. What are you working on at the moment, and what's top of mind? And like I said before we start, this is an unscripted conversation. We take it wherever we want to go. So this is a chance for you to say to the community, this audience, something you want them to know, feel, understand, act on.
Thank you. First, I want to say that your show reminds us of the critical nature and need for Black media. It is really necessary that we understand ourselves and that we can communicate about ourselves in ways that other people who are listening and watching can understand, ways that affirm Black life outside of the sum of our traumas. So I want to say thank you for your lifelong commitment to teaching and talking and telling about our story and writing it down at Insight News and now evolving to this platform. It's just fantastic. The second thing that's on my mind is Professor Mahmoud, who people know that I'm around a lot, not as much as I want to be, but he taught me a while back, and I have to circle back and ask him why he said that this will be the first generation of mainly homeless Black children we will see in a large number, and it is. And I have to circle back with him to ask him why he knew that. But that is what is on my mind right now. I'm working with women who are experiencing homelessness, primarily Black women who are barely old enough to be called women and who are now raising children. And when I first came on this call, Brenda and Clarence were talking about fentanyl, the way that it is killing Black community, the way that it is taking community members from us every day. COVID is still a thing and it's still real. And if your voting rights were not a serious game changer, they wouldn't keep coming for them. Those are the things that are on my mind.
Well, go deep on either one. Let's talk about media first, and this whole thing of image, of meaning making, and the power of communication. Let me say that I approach this work, Lissa, as both a calling and a direction or an instruction. And in my own mind and heart, I start with the idea from my training as a child that in the beginning was the Word, right? And so that relationship with the Word is the relationship at the foundation of all that I am, all that I see, and all that I know. And my sense of the Word is that it is a living thing, alive, life-giving, but it can also take life, right? But that's the power of the Word. And I think that our need is to recognize the presence, the vital nature of language, of the Word itself, and therefore learn to be more respectful of every utterance, right, that issues forth from our being. It's not just chit chat. It's not light banter. Everything has, in my view, interminable consequence, a consequence that began unfolding at and before the beginning of creation, and a consequence that will evolve beyond the end. So that's a lot. I'm gonna put it on your plate. Talk about what the Word is, what language is, what communication is, what teaching and elevating are to you.
You are such a beautiful person. Oh my goodness sakes. Just when I thought I knew about how beautiful you are, you say these things. And the first thing was the Word. That really is true. Just like what you're talking about, Baldwin said language can invent anything, right? Black was invented in order to create an image, a meaning making, a way of categorizing and containing a group of people by color who actually can't be contained by color because we are a culture. Our media recognizes our humanity. At the base level of every story, you recognize our humanity. And whether you are reporting on wonderful things we've done or things we need to be accountable to and for, you are doing so from a perspective of valuing Black humanity. That's something we don't get in mainstream media, and sometimes we don't even get it in Black media, but it's something that you have protected. You have taught us and continue to teach us about the meaning of words. You make me now stop and become more reflective, thinking about the idea that words are interminable, that we have to be very intentional about the words we use and about the utterances we make is such a profound piece of wisdom that I'm going to tuck in my heart and take with me and be thinking about my utterances. And I thank you for that. I think it's our responsibility and our gift to be able to teach. We don't know what we don't know as human beings, but we all know something. And if we share it, we make the village stronger and we make it better and we find community. And so teaching for me is something that I'm both a very curious learner. I mean, I'm always reading your newspaper. I always want to know more. I'm always thinking globally about us. And I want to read everything I can possibly read to know what little bit I can know about the things that I'm curious about so I can make a contribution to the village. I think love is a verb. And I think you got to love our people to serve our people. Cornel West said that, but I really do believe that. And I think that that's what you have done in Black media. That's what Diana has done with the Hawthorne Huddle. That's what Clarence has done with Hue-MAN. That's what Brenda's bringing all the way from New Mexico with her work. And that's what Dee's supporting, a way of talking about us and talking to us and talking with us in ways that are meaningful, in ways that matter.
When you, Brenda and I talked to Mother Atum Friday, great conversation.
Oh,
And,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brenda, jump
She's
in.
so deep. I think I woke up this morning.
For those who don't know, Mother Atum is Atum Azahir, founder of the Cultural Wellness Center and more. But go ahead, Brenda.
I just heard her say, and I know, Diana, you can really relate to this. The only thing she said was when you wake up in the morning, you say, I am. So I'm waking up in the morning, and no matter what I've gone through, and it's been a roller coaster, it's like I wake up, and this morning I thought of her and I said with my hand on my heart, I am. That was all I needed for today to move the clouds away. That's where I am with, but she was one of the first subjects I had in when I first started writing for Al. And that was 2 years ago, or more than 2 years ago. And I was just blown away then. I mean, just from the cultural wellness and from her study. I mean, and she defined Blackness in a way. And I have a master's degree in African American studies. I have never heard anything like that. She blew me away. And when she said that on Friday, it was on healing. And that's how she healed me. Move your tears, be in gratitude, and say, I am.
I was going to say, Brenda, I met her in a healing circle and with my friend Dave Ellis. And just like you said, her voice, the power of her voice, and the words that she speak. I was like in the circle with my hands like this. I couldn't put them down because it's so powerful. So yeah, she's awesome.
And she doesn't make a special effort. She is, and then she talked about her 4 sons and she said, I was supposed to be their mother. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, that I am has gotten me. We just had a kid to commit suicide, 33 years old. His name was Tigre. He has a sculpt. He was, and now he's an artist like Douglas.
Douglas Ewart was
We
on last
never
week as
saw
well.
it coming. He was at the community garden on Monday. He was just in beautiful spirits. Then I get a call, and Cece is saying, Brenda, Tigre's gone. Gone where? Did he leave the state? No, he's gone. 33 years old. So when I put, and I have no idea, none of us saw it coming. When I woke up this morning, I thought of him, and my hand was on my heart saying, God, please be with his family, because they're the ones that are left with this pain. And thank you for I am. That's all I could say. Yeah. Mother Atum is like Shirley LaChapelle. Just whenever Mother Atum was being interviewed by Al, it was like Shirley just said, I can't even comment. I mean, it's that deep. Can you imagine she and Professor L.I.T. Kachi being together in a conversation over a cup of coffee? Boy, I'd love to record that one. But anyway,
Well,
I'm
let
done.
me tell you. So Lissa Jones has the same energy and power, and
I bet. I
I
can tell by your glasses.
her work in radio is nothing short of transformative and powerful and clear. And so when she speaks, it's like she's singing. The cadence, the energy, it's not just talking. It's not just words, but something is happening when she is delivering on radio. So, Lissa, I'm going to keep throwing it back to you because, whatever's on your mind, this is the moment.
Thank you. Gratitude that there are giants in our community like you, Al, who are saying those things about me. I find myself thinking, who is he talking about? My time on radio, I really grew up on radio. I'm 53, and so minus 15 years I was on that radio, and I think the community knew me better than I knew myself and how I grew up in that way. To hear you say that is so important to me, both because of how I hold you in my heart and because I know you understand. When you're called, James Baldwin said, I find myself something like the prophet Jeremiah, the weeping prophet. I'm always telling, a story. And sometimes I wish the ancestors hadn't chosen me because, it's a lot. But I think radio was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I learned more than I could have learned about just about anything. And it was so wonderful to have creative license to say, I'm curious about this and I really want to know. And I think maybe one or two other people might want to know. To hear Black people say to me, I really didn't know that I was a culture and not a color. I really didn't know that Black people had done all these things. I didn't know about this part of my history. That makes me so proud because I consider the gift that is greatest after my breath of life is to be Black. Mm-hmm. It is such an amazing, profoundly beautiful experience that of course involves human pain and tragedy, but we're human beings, so anybody's story involves that. But if you unpack for 1 second the wonder of Black people and our culture and our genius, just like you, Al, and Clarence and Diana and Brenda, it's something to behold. And if you know it's a gift, you walk around like you think you can do anything, and then you can. And if you know that it is not a weight, but a gift. You can show up like that in the world despite the narrative and all the utterances they spend trying to make us play small. So that to me has been, and to do it on a Black radio station, knowing that I was talking to Black people, and didn't nobody have to water it down and say people of color and all this other nonsense, or BIPOC and all this other nonsense. I tell people I'm not BIPOC. I am not a person of color. I am a Black woman. And if you need to call me a person, you can call me a person of culture, just like Resma does. That's okay with me.
Let me stretch out on the notion of the gift. I think that's a wonderful way to talk about what you and I do. And what I have said, Lissa, is that the challenge in the practice is to address the gift in each other. Number one, recognize that you have a gift. And so I have been aware for the longest time that my ability to write and my ability to speak, my ability to bear witness, to observe, to report is more than the consequence of my training. I am trained at the university and I've practiced a long time, but it's more than that. And it rises to the level of gift, but it requires training and intention as well. And so in talking, I will often say, let's get in the habit of not only recognizing, but speaking to the gift in each other. So when I address you, I'm addressing the gift in Lissa Jones. And who's addressing you is not Al, but it's a gift that is within this vessel, right? And so the question is, how do we become intentional, aware, and in everything we do all day, operate with that spirit in that plane and reflect the truth that transformation is at hand. It's unfolding as we speak in every moment, and we can connect and live and know eternity by that process. I wanted to put up on the screen just for fun and just because I can, I guess, a piece that I wrote. I'm not going to go into, but just the title itself. Brenda, I don't know if you've seen this before. Is the screen showing up yet? Not yet. Hold it. I have to add it to the stream. There we go. So this is an article I wrote some years ago. I can't remember when I wrote it. Have you seen this, Brenda? Did I share this with you?
No, I haven't.
Well, this talks about me being born in Kansas City, Kansas. And the fun part about this, Brenda Lyle-Gray, is that Brenda Lyle-Gray's best friend is Brenda Isom. And this story starts off about Brenda Isom's mom and my mom both being in labor at the same time at KU Medical Center. In fact, Brenda's mom, I wrote, was in the operating room in the earlier stages of labor, but my mother was next in line. But I wrote, my imminent arrival required that Brenda's mom be rolled out and my mom be rolled in. I call that breaking in line, and I was looking at, so anyway, that's interesting. I think about that. I was looking at some etymologies and I think about what my name means, why these sounds, the sound Alvin, Alonzo, were the sounds that my parents received and that they attached to this body when I entered, right? And as I read, Alonzo means, I think it's the one, means, I wrote it down, hit the ground running, ready to do battle. So the spirit that announced itself at the moment of my birth was that this is a being that is hitting the ground running, ready to do battle. So I come forth ready to do battle. I do it every day. And Brenda, when I wake up every morning, I'm lying in bed, and then the eyes pop open. First thing I do is smile. Here we go. Here we go. Let's do this, right?
But we were that way as kids.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. Let's do this. So anyway, all that is just wonderful, both digression and communication. And I know you hear me, Lissa, because I know that everything I'm saying relates and captures, the motivation and power and drive that you bring to the work as well.
Thank you. I would tell you I'm smiling brightly, not only with everything you're saying, but I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do after I thank goodness and heaven for my breath is say, let's go. So we are similarly
time for
aligned.
another day and another seasoned warrior at play.
Right. That's right.
That's the truth, Diana. That's the chapter title of one in my book. And it's on aging gracefully, and it's called Seasoned Warriors. And believe me, that's what we are growing up in Kansas City during white flight and our elementary school being burned down and, the whole bit. We had it, but we also had that coalition of friendship. We had good friends. 70 years here with my boss. Unreal. A lot of people can't say that. And there are quite a few of us that grew up on the same block on 28th Street. And we just have so many wonderful memories. We do. Did we have struggles? Yeah. Emmett Till never left our psychic, just like George Floyd won't leave. It's just in our DNA in a way, this struggle throughout life. But boy, look at us. We're still rising. Al says that to me all the time. Well, we're still here, Brenda. Yep, we are. And I am. Boy, that Mother Tomb has me going. I don't know if I could write about her Friday. I think I might have to pass it over to the boss. She was a little deep.
Clarence Jones, bring you in. Join the conversation, man. Always good to see you.
Thank you.
I wanted you to do some updating on work that you're doing at the Hue-MAN partnership. And then I wanted all of us actually, to jump back in the conversation and make sure that everything that we want to say today gets said and keep on rolling. So Clarence, how you doing, brother?
Actually, I'm doing really, really well. And I want to thank Lissa for starting this program off, talking about what she was really thinking about, because those are some of the same things that I'm thinking about, some of the same things that I am expressing and feeling. And, you asked the question. I actually like this format because it allows me the opportunity to really be a little bit more freer in terms of my conversation and sharing some things. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Hue-MAN, but I want to start off with this story. When I was a kid in Chicago, 7, 8 years old, I wanted to be a fence. If you are from the hood, you know what a fence is. The fence buys stolen goods and then they sell stolen goods. Now, I wasn't a thief and I didn't want to steal anything. I didn't want to sell anything. I just wanted to be in the middle. It was just something in my creative being that said that I had to be in the middle of things. And so I did not understand that about myself until I got a little bit older, where I started to understand my abilities to negotiate and abilities to create things. And so it has really come forward in terms of this process called the Hue-MAN Partnership. I want to thank Ms. Diana for the whole idea about inviting me to this show today, because it gives me a chance to be a little bit more freer in talking about what I do, because the things that I do are very, very exciting. The things that I do are very, very inclusive. The things that I do are really making a difference. And I know that. I love the fact that we can talk about being Black. I'm a Black man unapologetically. Okay. I don't play that, but but I love others. Okay. So I'm very, very clear about that, is that's why Hue-MAN was created the way that it was because all of us have hue and all of us are human. And yet at the same time, we recognize the fact that we live in a society where many times you're often judged and evaluated based on how other people perceive you, but that's their business. Okay. I got to do what I got to do. And so part of what we have done with our work has really been to strengthen community through innovative partnerships. So we are always looking in our communities for those people that are doing the work and figuring out ways in which we might align ourselves with them and to create partnerships that will make our communities healthier. And so part of our joy has been, especially in working with Diana and Dee, has really been in, as you talked about it, Lissa, you talked about creativity. I have creativity. I have freedom. I can do what I need to do. And I listen to what they say. But at the same time, I have the opportunity to bring people into our community, into our work that have shown that they are truly allies for us. I always tell people, you don't have to be my friend. I just want you to be my ally. Friendship will come a little bit later, but right now we need allies in this work, because I am, you asked about how we were feeling. My attitude right now is I'm very sad. I'm saddened, but I believe that there is hope. In our communities, there's so many things that are not going well. And there's so many things that we have to address, but there are also so many things that we have people within our communities that are treasures that we should be working with, helping them, supporting them, helping them to develop more and to be able to help and to bring the kind of research information that we need. I'm really clear in terms of our work that I can't do everything, and I'm not trying to do everything. Okay. There are many, many people that are much, much smarter than me. And there are many people that have a passion that's different than mine, but their passion is in alignment with me. We started talking about this issue around fentanyl. I'm saddened by the fact that fentanyl is in our community in the way in which it is. I'm saddened that people are afraid to talk to people because they are not sure about how they're going to be received. I'm saddened by the fact that this is destroying our communities. I'm saddened by the fact that it's destroying our families, our children, and we have to do something different. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really enjoying my work with Diana and Hawthorne, because we're doing some really creative things. And we started off with the whole idea around just doing the Narcan distribution, going out to the communities. I mean, we're out in the communities, we're doing that. We're finding partners that can do that. We're developing relationships with other organizations around medically assisted treatment programs. We're talking to pregnant parents saying, if you are taking substances while you're pregnant, we need to figure out a way in which we can get you the kind of support that you need. We have medically assisted treatment programs in our community that our community is not even utilizing. People from other communities are using the services within our community that we should be using, but we're not. And so whose fault is that? Whose problem is that? That's our issue. I'm talking about practitioners' issues. That's our issue in terms of getting information to people so that they understand that these services are available for them. And that's one of the things that we have really tried to do in our community, which is to be very quiet and find people that are actually doing the work and figuring how can we come alongside of them and help them and support them in terms as we promote them. It's not about me. It's not about Hue-MAN. It's not about Diana, Hawkins, and Dee, and it's about us. It's how do we, as a community, how do we work together in order to make our community safer? And that's what we've been doing. We just recently had an opportunity to with all the gun violence that's going on in the community, we actually had an opportunity to come together and say we're going to talk to parents who have middle-aged school students, and we're going to talk to them about how they might be able to talk to their children. We have to figure out some different kinds of ways, which is one of the reasons it gets back to my whole thing about being a fence. The fact is that we have to figure out how do we as a community, how do we figure out what are the innovative ways in which we might be able to work together more effectively in order to make things better? Who is it that we should be promoting? Who is it that we should be supporting? Who is it that should be out front? Who are the true trusted messengers? How do we help our seniors? How do we have this intergenerational conversation about our health and about the things that are going on? How do we address the issues around strokes and heart attacks and diabetes? We have to be a lot better at that. I'm saddened because we're in the condition that we're in, but I'm also hopeful because I believe that there are people within our community that are willing to step up if we as a community can get behind them and support them. And I think that that's what's been happening with Hawthorne, which has been really exciting for me. We have done a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff. I don't even talk about it. I let Ms. Diana talk about it because it ain't, like I said, it's about Hawthorne and the fact that they've allowed Hue-MAN as a partner to come alongside of them and to be able to promote our work that we're doing. But once again, it really is about our people. It's about our community. It's about how do we have a healthier community and a safer community and a better community. And so we have done a lot of things over this past year. In terms of, I can tell you, we've been in health fairs. We've gone into schools. We've gone into, we work with the boys. I mean, big brothers, big sisters. I mean, we work North Common Park. We're not playing. We're very serious about this, and we're not interested in haters. We're not interested in people that just don't want to help us. You know, you don't like us because of whatever. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that's so important for me right about now is we got to find the people that's going to really help us to get to another level. And so part of what gives us strength has been the fact that we've been able to work collectively. We've been able, right now, we're working across the pond or the river. We're Ramsey County. We're doing a lot of stuff, okay? But once again, the stuff is that it's going to be community driven. It's going to be community led. It's going to be bi-directional. We're bringing in partners from the University of Minnesota. We're bringing people from there. People from other countries are asking us about help. I mean, and so we're doing all these kinds of things. But once again, it's about us. I can put it like that. Let me put it like that. It's about us. And so the thing that I am most appreciative about this particular forum format is that I do have the opportunity to share that there are many things that are going on. And again, you know, Al has been a phenomenal person in terms of promoting and supporting us, and we love that. One of the things that Hue-MAN has always done is we've always, whenever we did a grant, we always made sure that there was money in there for the Black media. We always made sure that. Okay, and that was this is one of the few times I'm saying out publicly, because usually I don't say anything at all because it's really nobody else's business. I just slide the money because that's how we operate. It's not about trying to put ourselves and to compete. I don't have competitors. We have so many sick people. We're never going to run out. Why am I going to compete with you? You know. So part of the strategy for us, and Ms. Hawkins often, you know, kind of directs me. So I always do whatever she tells me to do. She tries to direct me. But part of what we're trying to do more than anything is to establish ourselves as a credible source for accurate and appropriate information. We're trying to set ourselves and establish ourselves as a place where people can get information that they can make an informed decision. And where we don't know, we will go in and we will find the researchers. Where we don't know, we'll go in and get the data. Where we don't know, we'll go in and we'll find the person that should be the leader. And again, we believe in this whole issue around transactional leadership, which is the person that should be leading, you be out front. We don't need it. Okay. But what we do need, we need healthy families. We need healthy communities. We need healthy men. And so part of what's exciting for me at this particular point has been the fact that I'm in this space, in this place with an organization that I truly appreciate, I truly value, and that we have truly done some great things. I think one of the things that I say is that we have produced over 33 scientific papers with our work. Yeah, Diana Hawkins, Hawthorne neighborhood. We make sure that not only that, but we also make sure that we disseminate the information back to our community. We don't play that. It's not like we get the information and we hide it. We make sure that when we start a project off, that we're going to tell the community, we're going to start this project off And on October the 15th, we're going to have a date. We're going to tell you what we're going to come back and tell you. And so that once again is led by, by Hawthorne. We are having a great event on November the 17th. Let me do a quick plug.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a men's health event over at LifeSource, which happens to be a new member of Hawthorne, LifeSource tissue and organ donation. But we're going to have a men's health event where we're going to set it up like a arts gallery. And we're going to take 6 men from our community who have had a health journey. And we're going to have a rendering of them, an artistic rendering of them. And we're going to have a reception for them. It's important for us to recognize the men and the families and the individuals. This happens to be for the men right now. Recognize these men who have had life experiences. Maybe they need an organ transplant. Maybe they've needed a kidney, whatever. Or maybe they were just COVID ridden. We need to recognize these individuals and make sure that the community know that health is important. So these are the kinds of things that we are doing right now. So I'm gonna leave it like that, Al. I mean, I got a lot of stuff. But
I'm loving this conversation because you always and we always come back to what I call the bellwether phrases or points that resonate and that let us know in their sound and in their vibration that we're on the right path. You also talked about you didn't say the words, I think, but you're doing research. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I love about what you do, you mentioned, scientific papers. Mm-hmm. What you have done and are doing, Brother Clarence, is begin to normalize mm-hmm. our ownership of the value of mm-hmm. data-driven decision making. Mm-hmm. We have been victims of mm-hmm. other people's utilization of data whose intent was not our healing or our liberation, but tools that are simply tools, mm-hmm. but used with malintent. Mm-hmm. And you have taken those tools and mm-hmm. put them to proper use in examining the challenges and strategies and opportunities for our people mm-hmm. and giving us data we need to make mm-hmm. decisions about our development, our mm-hmm. growth, our futures. I think that's powerful. And so that was there's another idea that you said that just rang in my heart as you said it, but it goes back to what we're talking about, Lissa Jones. I saw you applauding several times as Clarence was talking. What were you thinking? What points were resonating with you?
That we are continuing in the tradition of Black greatness, that it just can happen at any age, that regardless of the weight of the circumstances, a luta continua. Black people continue to struggle. We continue to struggle for something better. We understand what it looks like to be a beloved community, and we are calling other human beings into that process of experimenting about how do we get there. And some people are more willing to come than others, but there's something beautiful about the humanity of Black people that says in the midst of suffering, we find a mutual way out, a mutual way of making things better. And to know that Clarence and Dee and Diana are, committed to doing this, and they're making such a huge impact. And then fighting the mythologies around Blackness. We absolutely have brains, and we publish research, and we took back something that had been used against us, to your brilliant point, Al McFarlane. So I am overjoyed that in spite of all the difficulties, a luta continua.
The fight continues. Kimberly is asking, put that up again. Can you ask Clarence, when is the artist showcase celebrating Black men? Say it again. Yeah. Thank you, Kimberly, for listening.
Yeah. It's November the 17th. It will be over at the LifeSource building off of River Road, where the kind of place where the old Riverview was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna be there. I have to have one other thing I want to say.
Go ahead, sure.
Yeah. We're in the process right now of and we're still negotiating, but we're in the process right now of taking a look at dementia in our community. It is a issue that is very, very important for us. And what's so amazing I was, and I don't want to go into it because I don't really understand all the stuff about it, but it's so amazing how hearing can also affect dementia. I mean, I never knew that. I mean, there's so many things that are going on that we're not aware of that's affecting our dementia. I mean, and you're finding out that people are having dementia at 40, at 50. I mean, I mean, it's amazing. And I think that part of what I am enjoying about the work that I'm doing with Hawthorne is the fact that we're able to enter into these conversations in a way in which is very, very inclusive. And at the same time, it also helps us to understand how to better serve our community. So we have this great opportunity with them to do some things that are organic and that emerges from the community. See, there's the other things too, is that we don't do anything. We don't just go out and decide like we're going to experiment on you, or this is what we want to talk about. No, it comes from the community. The community tells us what they want us to do. That's why I think that we're so effective, is that once people can find a place into a conversation, you don't have to convince them so much. Once a place is established where they can enter it, then you don't have to convince them. And so that's really what we have tried to do, is we have tried to get to that place where we're listening to people and we're saying, what is it that you want? And Al said this, I may not have all the words to say, but I can understand enough to say, this is the place of entry point. And if you give people a place like where they can enter, where they feel like they are part of the solution and not just a problem, then that's how we're going to change this paradigm. And so for me, and again, I don't want to be, I'm not trying to hype you up, Ms. Diana, Ms. D. I'm not trying to be like that. If you know me, I don't hype folks, but I do love you. I think the work that we're doing is phenomenal. The work that you have allowed us to do is phenomenal. The people that you've allowed us to meet and to be a part of, the places that you have gone and taken us and been with us, it's going to make a difference. And I applaud Hawthorne. And I applaud you too, Al, for the opportunity to be able to share our stories, because without that, it doesn't get that far.
Well,
I'm sorry, Al, may I just jump in 1 second? Forgive me, please. Thank you. The Last Days of Lyle-Gray is currently playing. It is Walter Mosley's book about Black dementia. It is very, very profound to watch. When Clarence is talking about hearing aids, Al would be reporting out that there's been a move for equity to move hearing aids into Walgreens and CVS, places where we were heretofore were not able to get them. We don't know necessarily that not treating our hearing problem because of cosmetic reasons or whatever, that could lead to early dementia, early onset dementia. So thank you for all the work you are all doing. Thank you.
And very quickly, Al, I want to say this. There's some job opportunities with this. With this hearing stuff, there's some job opportunities with this. And so I think I'll get some information for you, but you're right, Lissa. Thank you. Because that's we need to know this stuff. And like I said, we need to know. I'm sorry.
So this whole conversation is nothing short of amazing, because everything builds on what was just said. And so a couple of ideas come up. One, the job. I want to know more about the job opportunity for those particular jobs, but I want to use that as a springboard for the discussion, a place to enter the discussion of our people changing our perception and knowledge of ourselves, Lissa, as not just the problem, but we should see ourselves as the solution. We have to, Brenda, wake up and say, I am the answer. I am the solution. The solution is in me, right? And when I leave my house every morning, I'm going out on a mission. I'm a problem solver. I'm here to solve the problem, find the problem. Where is it? I'm looking for it. So that's the energy. We have to walk out. It's like going to the OK Corral, Brenda. Every morning we strap up, right? And we go out looking for the problem, because we are problem solvers. We are solution makers. And we understand that not only are we that, but that's also the business that we are in. What do you mean now, McFarlane? I mean, my grandmother used to say, boy, my grandfather was a pastor, and church was a family business, right? She said, uh, you know, well, two things in the community. We always said, mind your business. Keep your nose out of other people's business, right? But that was one way of saying that. But what was the real meaning of mind your business? Well, my grandmother said, God's business is the biggest business on earth, right? And you need to mind your business, right? Mind the business of the Creator. Mind your business. You need to mind your business. You say to yourself and to the world that our health, Diana, is our business.
Mr.
Our health
McFarlane.
is our business.
Mr. McFarlane, let me say something real quick, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Since we're talking about this, would you be willing to invite somebody from Starkey Industry to be on your program to talk about hearing aids?
Absolutely. I mean, the key.
We'll get it done.
And
I want to.
We're decision makers. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say this real quick though. I thank Al for doing what he does on a daily basis, because when I first met him, he took me on the ride. When I first met Dee 20 years ago, and I give all credit to her, this was a vision of hers with regards to diabetes and, dealing with dementia and how can we help the people in the community. So I want to give Dee her flowers where they're due, because we sat down 20 years ago and had a conversation about this, and to see it coming to light now. Thank you, Dee.
And what I find is interesting, Clarence, 2 years ago, I had not met Diana Hawkins, and she was so funny. She got up out of her chair and she said, well, Brenda doesn't know that much about me, but she will. And my God, have I not learned from Diana Hawkins and Dee Phillipps? And I say it all the time. Dee will sit there and she will be real quiet. But boy, when she opens up her mouth, I get off of the show and I'm thinking about what she has said. And it just all made sense. And thank you, Diana Hawkins, because you were right. 2 years ago, I learned an awful lot about you, and especially the walking Google. All you have to do is call her. You don't need to Google. She is the Minneapolis Twin City Google. But anyway.
So Clarence, the thing about jobs with the audio, with the hearing, the lesson for me, what's the right word for it? To blow that up, to take it to scale.
Yeah.
Is what if we start thinking about and talking about
exactly
how many jobs there are in that particular arena, and then we take and with intention talk about how many jobs ought to exist working on all the problems that we know we have. We know that 55411 and 55412, the Black community has the greatest health disparities and economic disparities and education disparities anywhere. And we are saddled with that knowledge and with that description as if those things are permanent descriptions of who and what we are, and they are not. And so what they are, however, is opportunities.
Correct.
And how do we change the narrative and determine that everything that somebody foists upon us as a problem is nothing more than a stepping stone. And our path is a path to completion, fulfillment, to greatness, to being ourselves. And so, Lissa, how do we start having conversations about, wouldn't it be great if we had 5,000 people working in North Minneapolis in healthcare? If we had 1,000 people that were working in mental health, if we had 1,000 people working in more in education, in preschool, in care for elderly people, if we had 1,000 people trained just to be and get paid for being active in block clubs, so that on every block there's somebody trained and in possession of Narcan and is on a permanent ongoing watch for opportunities where there is a need, but also the role to educate neighbors about how we can defend against, the tragedies of fentanyl and the mistakes and sometimes it's bad decisions people make. So how do we escalate and elevate our view of these situations so that we don't have this frustration throwing up our hands saying, I can't do it, but we embrace the challenge and move forward? Lissa, what do you think?
I love it. It's a huge question. I think one is convincing each other that we are Black people who are worthy of being in the world, that we have contributed to every single thing in the world, and that we are required, we're needed, we're necessary for fixing things, that we are also the best experts on our own experience and our own lives. So who better to help come up with answers to problems for us than us? Many of the problems we have are given to us. So they're not even created by us, but they become our responsibility. So one is, I think, changing the narrative of our leadership to stop saying all Black people do anything, period, to say affirming things about the gifts that Black people bring, to what you said, Mr. McFarlane, and to really begin to say to people, your life matters. What do you want to do with it? You have agency. How do you want to use it? And I think that is speaking in possibility instead of peril is half the battle.
Diana? D?
I'm gonna let D talk. She's so quiet today. We want to hear from you, D.
Got on mute.
I don't know that I have anything to add. I guess I wish that I knew Lissa, because I would love to learn more about what I don't know about Black history is voluminous. I want to know more about that, because until we recognize each other as fully formed, fully valuable human beings, we're not going anywhere. And we need to learn about each other, and we need to understand that we all come from different places, but we're all going to end up together. One way or the other, we end up together. Not very profound, but I just feel like I need to know more about everybody around me, because everybody's so interesting. Everybody's got so much to say.
Well, Dee, I just want to say thank you for your vision. Had you not been able to see it, we would not be here to be it. So I want to say thank you. And I always believe thank you. I always believe the ancestors do everything on time. So I'm glad to know you now.
Oh, thank you.
I want to know more about you too.
Did you get a chance to talk about Black Market Threads, Lissa?
Thank you. Black Market Reads is a podcast for people who want to really listen to Black authors amplifying their own experience. If you want to understand more about Black culture in a very safe way, where you can sit and think about it for a while, replay it if you need to, blackmarketreads.com has episodes upon episodes. Thank you for letting me say that.
Okay. I think we're at the end of our time. We got about a minute or two more, 3 minutes maybe. Clarence, any summarizing or additional invitations? Clarence, brother, I really just so enjoy all you have to say and all that you are doing. I applaud you for the work that you do, the vision you bring, the integrity and intensity that you walk in and around and through. So thank you, brother.
Thank you. All good.
All good. Okay. Well, we're at the end of the show. Brenda, comments?
Mobilize to vote. We have to get out to vote. It is so critical. It's so many ugly things going on in these last 30 days. We've got to get our people out to vote. So that's my last word.
Find a book that I have to read tonight. Tomorrow, I'm interviewing an author who wrote a book about her dad, I think, Earl Garner, the piano player.
Oh, yeah.
And tomorrow, his daughter has a book that should be on the program. So I was going to show the book, but I can't put my hands on it right now. But I want to encourage us to encourage people to read. I'll tell you one more story. Is I was listening to. Oh, do you know, Lissa? Do you know Greg Carr? And do you know Dr. Greg Carr and Dr. Karen Hunter. Do you know them at all?
I don't think so.
So you got to check this out. Now, I'm wearing this t-shirt called Narrative, right? Or a sweatshirt. Go to narrative.com, narrative with a K, like knowledge with a K. They are building a community online whose purpose is to acknowledge and nurture an Africana way of knowing. And within Narrative, they've created a social media apparatus called Nubia. Nubia with a K, silent K. And so they're doing this class. They started this when the pandemic hit and universities shut down. And Karen, who has a phenomenal presence on Sirius radio, she's like superstar. Also, she's like written, I think I'm gonna be wrong, 20 or 30 books. You know, she's just a phenomenal. Her name is, I called her Karen, properly Dr. Karen Hunter, right? And she teaches journalism at Hunter College in New York. But she was interviewing Dr. Greg Carter, head of Africana Studies at Howard University. And as they were talking, she said, she's reported this on the show. She said, Dr. Carr, do you mind if I record this conversation? That simple act, because when this brother talks, I've seen nothing like it besides talking to Mahmoud El-Kadi, right? And so you know what I'm talking about. When this brother talks, the talk is expansive. You know, it's huge, but it's detailed, it's credentialed, you know, and it reflects a commitment, a lifetime of scholarship, of study, and a pursuit. So from that conversation, she said, why don't we have this conversation every week? And they set up a YouTube program on Saturday mornings. It's still going on now, called In Class with Carr, every Saturday morning at about 8 o'clock our time, sometimes 8:30, sometimes a little earlier. But they set it up as a 1-hour program, and it goes sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. People don't want to leave, right? And now it's grown to where the live audience or the online audience is reaching towards 2,000 people. So they have created the largest Africana studies class in the world. They are now at less than 125, 28, 30, around. They categorized it or logged it in. So if you go to it, you'll see, you know, the most recent Saturday's class was less than class number 135 or 132, whatever the number is, right? But the energy is just going and going. So check it out. I think it's something that you should be in, and you would enjoy, and the community would also enjoy you. So, and I'm saying that to everybody, anybody listening, check out Narrative, check out Nubia. And the principle there, they're inviting all of us to bring our brick, because we are building something. And think about how the pyramids were built. We're building something. Everybody bring a brick. With that, take care.
I love you. Thank
We'll
you.
see you all tomorrow.
Yeah.
Take care. All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.